In this video, I'm going to be doing the molding on my basement doors. This is for the hallway side, so I'm going to do it a little bit fancier. And when I do the inside of the door, I'm just going to use casing. So for this, I got two pieces of casing. You can see there, fairly cheap, ordinary stuff. I have this architrave for the top, which is also called a head casing or a door crosshead. And I've got these two plinth blocks. Now the plinth blocks cost about $8 each, and the head casing cost about $10 to do the whole door. I'm also using some no nails to reduce my requirement to push nails through this stuff. So I find the plinth blocks need to be a little bit closer to the edge of the door frame than you're going to have your actual casing, and that's because in order to center the casing on the plinth block, you're going to want to push the plinth block as far to the right as you can, or as far to the edge of the door as you can, so that you get the proper reveal with the door casing. If you were to move the plinth block over so that it was at the 1/4 inch reveal that you generally use, then when you put the casing down, it would have far too much of a reveal, or it wouldn't be properly centered. So once I've sort of sized up the plinth block and the casing to make sure that it's going to look good, I'm just going to slap some no nails on the back of this, and I'm not going to put any nails through the plinth blocks, but I think the no nails will hold it in place. So like I said, a couple things you're going to want to look for is that it's sitting vertically so that your door casing sits on it also vertically, and that you have the proper reveal set. And there's the door with both of the plinth blocks glued down to the bottom. I'm now going to mark out the top with my combination square, and I've set it at a 1/4 inch so that I have a 1/4 inch reveal across the top. I'm going to do this on both sides so that when I measure the casing, it comes to the right height, as I'm not going to do a mitered cut on the top, but instead I'm going to use a butted joint at the top. And with the 1/4 inch reveal measured, I'm going to measure from the top of the plinth block to my 1/4 inch reveal, and I have it at 75 3/8 of an inch. So I'm going to go cut the casing to that length. Now, just like the plinth blocks, I'm going to use a little bit more no nails glue on the backside just to help this stick down to the wall and to the door jamb, and I will use a few nails with the nail gun as well just to hold it in place. Now I'm largely eyeballing the reveal here at about a 1/4 inch. The one I'm most concerned about is the one at the top. And like I said, I'll just use the nail gun just to tack it in place and try and catch a little bit of the door frame in there just to have some wood behind it so the nail has something to bite into. And once that's done, I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other side. So there it is with both plinth blocks down and the casing installed on each side. Now I'm going to measure out the architrave. So I'm going to go about 38.5 inches, but I'm going to add 1 full inch so that I have a 1/2 inch overhang on either side of the casing. And these are going to be 45-degree cuts. So I'll cut my one 45-degree cut and my second one so that I have a 39.5 inch architrave. Now, just like the plinth blocks, I'm going to try to avoid using nails through the architrave. However, you may want to do that. Another point to consider, you could actually make this out of other pieces of trim. I just chose not to and just bought a full architrave. So now I've got the 1/2 inch reveal on either side. So that's what it looks like with the 1/2 inch reveal on either side of the casing, but I still need to do the return here to bring the architrave around and to the wall. So I'm going to use the miter saw again and cut a 45-degree angle going the other way, and then turn it around and cut it at 90 degrees to the exact width of the architrave so that it returns to the wall. and it just looks like a small chip, and that is to take out that space between the architrave and the wall. So you can see it is very thin, and it's essentially the width of the architrave cut on a 45, and first cut fits in there pretty well. Now once again, I'm not going to be using any nails through this small piece of trim. I'll just use some no nails, glue it in place, and clean it up so that there's no globs of glue sticking out. Now I've cut the second one, and this one I've cut a little bit wider because the architrave over the door doesn't fit quite as flush on the left hand side of the door, so it required a slightly larger return. But again, this one fits in pretty well, and once the glue's cleaned up and a small amount of caulk is applied, it'll look good. Obviously the wall isn't quite flush. Overall, I find this type of casing on the door to be fairly easy to do, and it doesn't require exact 45-degree cuts like the just doing casing wood with the miter joints. The extra cost of the plinth blocks and the architrave is about $30 more per door. So if you're going to do one side of the door, anticipate a $30 increase in price. To fill in any gaps and nail holes, I'm using this Alex Flex DAP caulking, and then I'll come around and paint the trim work. Anyway, thanks for checking out my video, and don't forget to like and subscribe.